let's make a World War I style trench with HellScape assets using Dungeondraft. So, first thing you're going to need to do is make sure that you have the airship pack and the military pack, HellScape airship and HellScape military enabled. So when you make your new file, you'll have your edit pack option. You can see I am a big fan of Forgotten Adventures. And you're going to want to make sure this guy's on and this one. I'm on 1.6 and airship 2.1. So as long as you're at those numbers or above, you should have everything I have. I've got everything turned on. I generally just leave all of HellScape turned on when I make new maps. So you've got your new map. First thing you need to do is go to the terrain tool, the terrain brush, and set your first layer to grass or whatever you want underneath your trench. The second layer needs to be set to this terrain muddy footprints, because that is what the trench paths are designed to match. You'll see that the alpha transfer makes these nice footprints, so if you just want to make an area that's kind of a little bit messed up, but not all mud, a few light clicks will get you there. But for your trench, you're going to want to hit G if your grid isn't on, and make a path that follows where your trench is going to go. And I'm doing about 2 grid squares wide, so I want to make sure that the mud goes a little bit beyond both sides of that grid square where the trench is going to be. In the same tool category, you've got the path tool, and we're just going to search trench. You've got 2 versions. One fades, and one is kind of stippled. This is really good for if you don't have the underlying muddy footprints, then it can look like it's kind of cutting into any terrain, whereas this one is designed to transition to this. So we're going to use the fade version. I'm actually going to decrease the width a little bit. This is kind of personal preference, to set that to whatever you want. And this is going to be a ramp that goes down into the trench, so we want to set the transition in to grow and out to fade. I'm going to hit S to turn off snapping and start clicking to draw out the shape. Don't want to go too far, because you can see every time I click, that transition in gets thinner, and I don't want that to get too thin. So I'm going to right click to end the line and set transition in to fade. Now every time I start a new line, I just overlap a little bit. Make sure you don't go too far, because as you go further, that transition in extends on the right side of the screen. We don't want that to be too faded out. So make sure to overlap. Vary it up. Alright, getting near the end here, so we're going to set that transition out to shrink. And right click to end the line. There's a trench, but it doesn't have a lot of depth. Here's the trick. We're going to search for the shadow line. I'm going to use this version that is about 50%. You can also use this one, but I think that's a little too harsh for this. So we're doing path, shadow, light. And excuse me, the transition in again is going to be grow, and then transition out is fade. Actually, this one the shadow extends to the left, not the right, whereas this one was the opposite. So we're going to transition out to shrink and in to fade. So there, it fades in, and then it kind of narrows to transition out. So we're actually kind of working backwards this time. Also, we want to make sure we're set to sorting under. That way it goes underneath our previous lines. See, it gave us that nice transition in, so it looks like kind of a ramp going down. And now that we're working around this part, we're going to go ahead and go to fade, fade. And actually, no, we need to do this one, don't we? Yes, we do. So we're going to go to grow, fade. And we're kind of doing the same thing, but reverse. And watch at the bottom of the screen, every time I click, that transition zone changes. So keep an eye on that until it looks the way you want. Then right click, you've got that good transition in. Now it's just fade, fade, do a little bit of overlap when you start your line, and watch it as you go. Keep an eye on corners like this, because if you turn too sharply, what's happening here is this is just a polygon. It's a series of polygons, and they will start overlapping over themselves, and then you get this ugly artifact. And the way to deal with that is to make sure your smoothness is turned all the way up, and to just make a very gentle turn. See, I'm going way up here to try to smooth out that curve. And then you also want to kind of end that line, that path soon. So once it looks good, kind of drop it there so it doesn't get any worse, and then start up a new line again. Keep calling them lines, but they're paths. For a sharp corner like this, I just go a little bit past and end the path, and then do another one and end the path. And that overlap, that works just fine. You don't have to try to make that bend and have the polygons bunch up on you. And there you go. G to toggle the grid so you can see what it looks like. And you have a trench. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment or jump on the Discord and I'll try to help you out. See you next time.